afternoon or good evening, whenever you're listening. We're glad that you've joined us. Last week, Kathy put me in under the hot lights and probed and picked my brain. And so I'm going to return the favor and put her under these hot lights and let's see what kind of fun answers she comes up with. We're excited to record again today and to join you and have you join us at the proverbial table. And I hope everyone is staying warm and safe and all of this ice and snow. Did you have the snowstorm of the generation like you were predicted over there?
No, I mean, we did have snow, but not near as much as they said could come. And now we just have all the ice and, things are shut down. Schools still haven't met and all that kind of stuff. We were able to hang on to electricity, which we were probably more prepared than any other storm for our electricity going out. And it never did. Lots of people around us did, but we kept it. And I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, that makes things miserable. I know I'm spoiled. You're supposed to say, oh, no, you're not spoiled.
I know, I was just nodding my head. Yeah.
Yeah, you are. Well, this is looking up. I didn't explain that a minute ago. Do we need to explain that every time we have a podcast? This
We
is
might
looking
have
up.
one new person listening.
Okay, if you're new, thank you for joining us. We are called Looking Up with Kathy and Carla. I'm glad you've joined us. We are a podcast for Christian women. My name is Carla Moore, and with me is my dear friend Kathy Pollard. We are in different states, but we get together once a week and we chat about things that we find fun or interesting or uplifting or encouraging. We just try to give you a daily dose or a weekly dose of encouragement and help you to look at the things that are important, heavenly things and spiritual things and sometimes funny things and just, whatever we want to talk about. That's what's fun about it to me. So, did you get anything accomplished during this last several days of being shut in?
I really did. I mean, plans were canceled necessarily because of it, and I found that very helpful.
Yeah.
Able to catch up on some things with deadlines. And I mentioned in our last episode this idea of, wanting to have a capsule wardrobe. And of course, I'm not there, but I did go through my closet and all of my drawers and even my coat closet and my sh all of my shoes and just took the time to just really purge and pull out things that I don't wear or don't love or,
Mhm.
so that felt so good. My closet and my drawers look way, way, way better. And so it was fun to be able to have the time to do something like that. So.
Did you get rid of things or did you just put them in a different closet?
I had a couple of bags that were things I trashed because I wouldn't, it might be my favorite ratty t-shirt, but nobody else is going to want to wear it. So I had a couple of bags of that, but most of it was for donation. I intended to store them somewhere, in case I'd changed my mind. But I felt pretty strongly about pretty much everything I pulled out. Like, no, I really never wear this,
Yeah.
never. And so if I don't ever wear it, I won't miss it. I'll just do without. So I didn't, there is nothing. I think Neil did the same thing.
Hmm.
I think he kept a couple of things nearby, like a couple of bags of things nearby in case he changed his mind. And I intended to, but like I said, there was nothing I felt that way about. So I wasn't on the fence about anything. I
Okay.
loved it or I didn't. So you're the weakest link. Goodbye.
Next week. We'll see if where is that gray shirt?
Yeah, yeah. In fact, there were some items that I left hanging, and then over the next day or two, I went, no, I don't even know why I kept that in there. And I just went ahead and pulled it out. So,
Well, you seem to always stay pretty much the same size. I know that you would probably not say that about yourself, but I am like this, and so I have different clothes for different sizes. I mean, not a huge difference, but the difference between something that's snug and something that's not, or eventually it's not. I think, well, when I go back down again, that I like that, and so that's why I hang on to things sometimes. But I can also put them in the back closet and then not discover them again for another couple of years.
yeah, I had a few pairs of jeans and some like striped linen pants that I loved that haven't been in a few years. And it hurt, but I thought it actually aggravates me to open my closet and look at these things and be
Mhm.
reminded that, lo, I'm still not in them. So I just thought,
I
yeah,
guess that could be our hope chest.
yeah,
Put that in the hope chest.
right, yeah,
And maybe someday again chest. Well,
yeah.
I got a lot of stuff done too. The main thing that I was so proud of myself, I had a ton of Amazon returns. There was just things that I had ordered for Christmas that I didn't end up using, or they didn't work out and it needed to go back. So I had a mound of things in here, and they were so disorganized, and I had just kind of put them in boxes and bags and shoved them in my closet. And then I brought them in here thinking I'll take care of that. Well, this is what, January 28th, and it's been just about 4 weeks since we had our Christmas. And so I went through everything, and I had already started the return on Amazon. So I copied all of those little return codes onto a document, and then I printed out what this is for. So I had like 3 pages of the little codes.
Wow.
And then, yeah, because I didn't want to go into the UPS store. Now that I'm an employee there, I feel like I'm an employee because you have to do it yourself. So I didn't want to go in there and have this line of people behind me frustrated with me because I wasn't efficient. So I got all that organized. And when I went in, it really did go much better. I had like 2 bags in a box, and I had that document, and I just went ding, 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 ding. And now we have to shove the things in plastic bags. And it's, I'm glad that Amazon makes it easy to return things, but it's also a little frustrating, the process. I don't know if y'all have to do the same thing, but you have to go to the UPS store here. You have to scan the code. You have to put it in their bag. You have to roll it up and then seal it with their label, and then put it in either the blue or the green or the red bin, all this kind of stuff. So
Wow.
I got that done. And I had a significant amount of refund money coming, and I wanted to get that done. So I got that done yesterday. I organized it, and then I took them yesterday. And then I also got my suitcase unpacked, which I don't know why, but I hate doing that. I don't know why. It's not that hard. But it had
Mm.
been 2 weeks, and it was still laying on my floor. And then I had to take those summer clothes that we wore in Hawaii and then put them in the other closet. And anyway, I was glad to get that done.
Yeah, and then they're not weighing on you and hanging over your shoulder anymore. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
everything's put away. So what
All
all did
right.
you cook?
What's that?
What all did you cook?
Oh, well, speaking of staying the same size,
Or not?
there's something about getting snowed in, the way Neil put it was, it kind of makes it feel like a holiday. So
Mhm.
we had homemade pizza one night. I made tacos one night with chicken, like that. I've mentioned the brand before, Just Bear Chicken.
Oh
It's
yeah.
it is chicken, but it's supposed to be all clean ingredients, but it's really, really good. And I baked those things off, and I made homemade tortillas, and we stuffed the tortillas with that chicken, and I made a cilantro lime sauce to drizzle over it, and chopped purple onions and lime and just all the things, and it was so, so good. We had homemade chocolate chip cookies 2 nights in a row. So
Uh,
yesterday I finally made myself get up and weigh. Yeah, it wasn't pretty. Needless to say, my Weight Watchers app and I are getting reacquainted.
yeah. Yeah. I've had that for, well, I don't know how many times I've had it, but I've got a streak going now with Weight Watchers. It's like since about July of last year. But like when we were gone, I would just enter vacation and then the 23 points. So I wasn't really tracking, but I wanted to keep my streak alive. So I think that's probably cheating, but whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, mine, well, I haven't done anything with the app in months. And so I weighed myself and then recorded my weight, and it didn't say, whoa.
Yeah.
And I was anxious about it. Like the Weight Watchers app was going to reprimand me
Told
for,
you.
how did you let this happen? But all it did was do that little clappy thing like, good job, you recorded your weight today.
Yeah. That's the best thing I can think to say about it.
Switch to the screen that shows the graph of here's where you were and here's where you are now. It's like,
Uh, yeah, yeah. It's just the eternal
Oh.
struggle, isn't it?
It is. It is.
Yeah. All right, on to the next. Let's not talk about weight anymore. What else you
Well,
got?
our oldest grandson is 3 years old now.
It's crazy.
I know. And it's just so hard it feels, in some ways, it feels like we've been in this phase forever. Like I can't imagine not having any of them. But in other ways, I feel like we just started and we've already been doing it for 3 years and we already have five grandchildren. How did
Yeah.
that happen?
I can't remember if it was you or Emily. One of you said how full of personality he is. And I thought, well, yeah, his dad, for one,
Oh,
has
he
quite a bit of
sure is.
personality.
He definitely is. He is all personality.
Did y'all have a birthday party?
Not yet. We couldn't, but she's
Oh, yeah.
hoping to be able to do it this Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Well,
We got another storm system coming in, so we'll see.
yeah. I remember that day that he was born.
hmm
Well, we enjoyed having dinner with Neil one night during Focal Point.
Yeah, he told me about that.
It was, I don't mention it to him. I think John may have told it, but it was the third night in a row we had eaten at that barbecue place.
Oh, what?
But yeah, John was all about it. And I thought about just taking something with me, something different.
Could have said something. Neil would have
I
been like,
know. Oh, I know, but I'm not gonna keep him from his barbecue places when he's in Texas. So
yeah, him and Texas barbecue and Texas HEB stores. Those are his,
yeah.
those are his things.
I assumed that he had made it to HEB. I didn't ask him, but I'm sure he did.
Well, and funny thing, before he left, he specifically said to me, it's kind of weird that I have no reason to go into HEB. Usually he's looking for certain kinds of coffee and things like that. And I said, oh, I'm sure you'll think of something. He was like, no, I really won't because I don't need anything. I don't have any reason. And I just kept going, uh-huh, uh-huh. We know what happened.
Mm. Did he bring you any almonds?
He got some chocolate covered almonds. I think he went in for some quote legitimate reason, like maybe having to do with contact solution or something like that. I don't know. He came up with something,
Yeah,
but I knew honestly, I'm surprised we don't live in Texas.
just because of HEB.
He gets so excited anytime he's going down there.
He needs a t-shirt or something that says HEB biggest fan.
That's right.
So I had something kind of fun happen at Focal Point. I mean, the whole thing was great, other than the weather, and it got cut short. But Friday, I guess it was, or maybe it was Thursday. There was a group of former Bear Valley students. So Colton and Katie Balance and Nate and Katie Miller and Matthew and Haley Height, and then Danley and Chloe Queen were also there. They're not Bear Valley grads, but they were at they were sharing an Airbnb in San Marcos. And Katie said, "Why don't y'all come by this time, whatever?" So she gave me the address, and when I put it in the GPS, I started going, I mean, I grew up in San Marcos, so I know a lot of the streets and places, but I thought that address just sounds really familiar. And sure enough, when we pulled up, it was my best friend from high school. It was the house that she lived in.
Oh,
And it
wow.
was so bizarre to be in that house. And they've changed it. I mean, it's been remodeled because it's been 40 years, but it was just, it was like
How
deja vu in a weird way. And things, like I said, things were a little bit different, but I was like, her room was down that hall, and this was the kitchen, and that's where we watched TV. And it was just fun to be,
that's
kind
cool.
of go down memory lane. But it was fun to see them too. They were, I think between all of them, they had like 9 kids there staying with them. So it was quite a hub of activity, and they were having a good time together. So anyway, that was fun.
That is neat. Neil was
Mhm.
telling me about all the familiar faces that he saw, and many of them Bear Valley grads, and he mentioned their names, and among others, was kind of giving me the update on everybody, and I know
Yeah.
he enjoyed being there, and hated he flew back early
Mhm.
because of the storm coming in, which ended up being a smart call, but he hated having to do that.
Well, most people did. There's quite a few speakers that didn't even get to come because of the
Mm.
weather, just being able to look ahead and see what it was going to be like in a few days. So things changed. I felt bad for university congregation because they put a lot of work into it. But I mean, January, you never know what it's going to be like.
Yeah, I don't guess you typically expect that where you are, though.
It usually happens once a year. We
Oh,
usually get a storm but it's ice storm, but
Mm,
it doesn't stay on the ground. Like I'm looking out my window now and it's still my front yard is almost completely white and it wasn't snow, it was ice. It was freezing rain and sleet. And then
mm,
I guess a little bit of a layer of snow because it's white, but
mm.
it's enough. The roads are fine. We can get out on the roads, but it's in the shady spots still pretty slippery.
Yikes. Yeah, it's solid white here everywhere. It's that bright white. You go to look out the windows or the sliding glass door and you feel like you need shades on because and they had told us whatever we get, it's going to be here for a while because it's staying so cold and sure enough, it's still here and we got more coming.
Yeah. Well, it's wintertime.
Yep.
Well, I wanted to mention something that you and I are both involved in that we're looking forward to is Israel in October.
Mhm.
And we haven't talked a whole lot about it because we've got two trips before then, but John and me and you and Neil are taking a group in October, and the dates are, this is kind of still not nailed down, but the dates are going to be the 9th through the 21st of October. And that I don't think that that includes travel days. So there's probably a day on either end that you'll be traveling, people that want to come. But the first part, the 9th through about the 11th, is going to be like a pre-tour excursion to Jordan. So if you have a desire to see Petra, Mount Nebo, some places like that in Jordan, then you could come early. And then Israel is going to be from the 12th through the 21st. And that's going to be more of a typical tour like we do with the normal places. So we're excited about that. We are actually about two-thirds full. So there's not a whole lot of room left, but if there are those of you out there who've wanted to go to Israel and would like to go with us, we would love to have you. You can check our website, except it's not on the website yet. But if you wanted to see what a typical tour looks like, it's www.biblepassages.net. And I think that that will be up probably within the next week or so with details. And if I think you have, and I know I have the tentative schedule. If you do you have a copy of it? I know I sent it to, or John sent it to Neil, but I can send it to you
Yeah. Mhm.
so people can reach out to us if they want to know what all it includes and don't have price yet. Working on it. It's just been, there's a lot going on. And, there's just a lot, things have gone up travel wise. And so we're trying to make all of those decisions to where, what do you cut to where it doesn't, you don't hate the things that you have to cut, but yet at the same time, people can't afford. I know it's just expensive. So we're trying to cut down on some of the expense, working on that.
We're excited. Neil is very excited about the Jordan opportunity since we haven't been there yet, and we're looking forward to it. And I know some of the people that are coming with us are people that we've talked about on this podcast that live in my area, so we're excited about that. I'm not going to pull their name out there in case something happens, end up not coming, but
We want to guilt them into it. Make sure they come.
yes, yes. If I say your name on the air, then you have to come.
Yeah.
But they've committed and their names are on the list. So Lord willing, it'll happen. But we're really looking forward to it.
Yeah, we are too. All right, you got anything else before I put you under the hot lights?
I think so.
I thought about getting my little flashlight on my head and putting it on, but then it would mess up my hair, and I decided not to.
Your hair is too pretty.
It's sprayed down right now. All right, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, first one. Some of these are the same as what you asked me, and I wanted to hear what your answers would be. And the first one is one of yours. Who inspires you to be a better person?
Hmm. I really had to think about this one because the obvious answer is Neil, but I'm saving him for your second question. But when I started thinking through, I started realizing how very blessed I am because I feel like I'm surrounded by a lot of people who make me want to be a better person. And I really came up with, like, mentally right away, so many names that I could put here. And I thought, that's pretty wonderful. Yeah.
Mhm. It's a
I never
blessing.
really thought about that, but that's pretty wonderful that I know so many people that I look up to. And um, and just encouraged by what they're doing and how they're living or their attitude or, their love for people or whatever. But so I settled on, I'm kind of cheating a little bit, But I settled on our elders and their wives. So I know it's not one person, but when I think about each of our individual elders and the wife that's, supporting and serving along beside him, I see such strength and humility and genuine love for people and, a desire to want to be there and to pray and to honor God. I mean, just all the traits that you want to be personally as a Christian, I feel that they genuinely display, complete sincerity. Not perfect by any means, but just looking at them, I can see their strengths and how they've rolled up their sleeves and got to work. And even though it's hard work, and they've experienced some hard things and had to do hard things, keeping that love for God and his people through all of that tremendously inspires me to want to be better and do better. So that's my answer for that one is our elders at Cumberland Trace and their wives.
Well, I know I've said this before, and I know most of the ones you're talking about, and I understand why you picked them, but I think that you and Neil always people rise to the level of your expectations. And I don't mean that in a bad way because expectations can be a bad thing, but I just always feel like y'all lift people up and make them feel capable and qualified. And so I think some of that confidence comes from y'all because you believe in them. And I mean, I really do. I've observed that at Bear Valley and I've observed it in Cumberland Trace from Lehman Avenue. And so they are good people, I know, but I think that y'all help to make them the kind of people that would inspire you and others. So I think that's a neat thing.
That's a nice thing to say.
Well, it's true.
Thank you.
All right, number two, who is a spiritual hero in your life?
I had to think about this one forever because
Uh-huh. Yeah.
actually, I wish I could give a different answer so I wouldn't sound so much like you.
I think it's pretty cool though.
It is. It's Neil, of course. If everybody wants to snore through this part and check out, that's fine. I totally get it. I would. I would. But it's
Yeah.
Neil. And the reason is because he genuinely loves what he does. He's a gospel preacher, he's in ministry, and the word minister means to serve, and he just genuinely loves his work and doesn't ever plan on retiring. Lord willing, he wants to preach as long as God gives him breath. Like that's how he views what he does. And even the whole aspects of local work and ministry, I'm trying to think of a part of it that he doesn't care for
Mm.
and I can't, and it obviously there are things like disgruntled members or personalities or, people going through difficulties. But even then, I think he just kind of rolls with the punches, but he loves preaching. He loves working with elderships. He loves making visits. Definitely loves Bible studies, any soul winning. And if it puts him out or, inconveniences him, it just doesn't bother him. He doesn't mention that. In my mind, I'm going, well, great, so much for this plan, or whatever. But I don't know. He just genuinely wants to do it, wants to
Mm.
be used, loves what he does, goes to work whistling every day, And to me, um, I know it's not because it's a glory kind of giving work, if that makes sense. You don't do it for praise of men or things like that, and things happen, and you find out that people say things about you or don't like your preaching or, stuff like that is a part of it. But I'm just so encouraged by him and amazed that this is where God has put him, and he's so thankful for it.
Mhm.
And that comes out in his demeanor and his work with people and his how he greets every single day. So
Good
that's
one. Well, he's definitely doing what God put him on earth to do. He's
yes.
very good at it. I was thinking just yesterday, I was putting baked potatoes in the oven and I was rubbing oil on them and sprinkling them with salt and had salt and oil all over my hands. And I thought to myself, well, you can't cook without getting your hands dirty. And then I thought, well, you can't minister without getting your hands dirty in your life, without getting the muck of other people's lives, for lack of a better word, in your own. And that made me think of Wayne Berger, but that so applies to Neil too, because he will. he'll get down there and he gets in the dirty parts of people's, that doesn't sound right, but you know what I mean. He's not afraid to get down there in the hard parts of people's lives and help them. So I love that about ministry and how he how he does it.
Well, he just doesn't give up on people. He doesn't write them off, and he has been in weekly Bible studies that have gone over a year.
Mhm.
And I'm like going, is it time to shake your dust off your feet, if you will? I don't think this is where it's going where you think it's. And
Yeah,
he just will not, well, but they're still willing to meet.
yeah,
They're still willing to open up the Bible. So, and they just about always pay off at some point, but he just doesn't give up.
yeah, yeah. He's optimistic for sure.
Yes, he is.
Okay. Number three, what spiritual lesson has a grandparent taught you?
Okay, this one was fun. I'm choosing my grandma, and I've decided to go with balance
Okay.
because she was very, serious and strict in some ways when it came to behavior and Christian living and faith. And, she thought it was important. Bible trivia was important to her, and she didn't understand why everybody didn't know all the kings and major and minor prophets and where they're found and,
Hmm.
all that kind of stuff. And she was no nonsense with me. Like she wasn't going to put up with something if I did something wrong. And she was not afraid to call me out. I still, just thinking about it, still kind of makes me shudder. But she wouldn't even, if I was in trouble, she wouldn't even use my name anymore. All of a sudden I was girl. So,
Oh, oh, yikes.
so my sweet grandma would be like, she'd reprimand me in whatever way and follow it up with girl. And I'd be like, "Ugh." I
Your
knew,
dad's mom, right?
yes, yes.
Okay.
I knew if I got girl, I was really in trouble.
Mhm.
But on the other side of that, she could be silly. I can still picture her faces, and she would laugh and she would play games, and she would, even though she believed in doing your best and not dropping the ball, and, she'd call me out if I got in trouble. She's also the same person that one time I disobeyed my parents during worship, and my dad had said to me, it's coming when we get home. So, I was dreading the spanking, and I guess I cried or something, and grandma came up and said what's wrong, and I told her, and she said, and I think my sister and I both were in trouble actually, but she said, here's what you do. When you get home, stuff your pants with a bunch of toilet paper, and then you won't feel the spanking. And so that's what we did.
I would never have guessed that she would tell you that.
Yeah. So,
Some things that
uh,
you've told me.
yeah. So anyway, that's what I mean by she was just so well balanced. She was like, do your best, but you can have joy in life. You can have fun in life, and you can be silly, and it. So I appreciated that about her.
Yeah. That surprises me. I would never have thought that, just some things that you've said, wouldn't have thought that she would show you how to get out of a spanking, not get out of it, but at least soften the blow.
Yeah. Now it didn't work, obviously, because Dad could tell.
Yeah,
He
something
may have,
didn't look quite
he
right.
may have overdone the toilet paper.
A whole roll on each side.
Yeah, and he made us remove said toilet paper and
Oh,
come
wow.
back for round two. But he admitted later that he and Mom had to go in the back room, and they died laughing. We were like,
Right.
well, Grandma said, we completely threw her under the bus. Grandma's the one that told us to do it.
Was Christy getting a spanking too?
Yeah, I believe she was. I think we were both in trouble.
Ah, okay. Well, that's fun. All right, number four, what book besides the Bible has influenced you the most?
All right, I have two, and I've mentioned them on here before, so you will not be surprised. The first one is Seven Laws of the Learner by Bruce Wilkinson. And I went with that. I mean, I have a lot of books that I love, but I really tried to focus on like influence, like feel like changed something about me. And that one is just so good about how people learn. And if you're a teacher, how to connect with people so that they will learn. The responsibility that falls on the teacher's shoulders. And if you're teaching a class and it sounds so smart that nobody's getting it, that's not the student's fault, that's the teacher's fault.
Hmm.
And but it's just really good. It's really practical. It's an engaging read. there are chapters that I've read more than once because I need to be reminded, So if you ever have any opportunity to teach, whether it's, even in a public school system or a children's Bible class or a ladies' day or your own kids, it's extremely helpful, extremely helpful. And then the other one is Marriage by Paul David Tripp. That's the book that Neil and I discovered, what, 2 or 3 years ago. Had to make our way through slowly because we'd been married for over 30 years already by that point, or at 30 years. And every chapter it was just like, oh, it's
Yeah.
just so enlightening and toe stepping. And there is no reading through that book without getting an honest look at your own heart.
Mhm.
And he just calls it out. He lays out behaviors, here's the scenario, and he lays out the behavior, and you can see yourself in one of those behaviors, and so then he talks about that and what that means, and he ties it all to our view toward God and even worship and how it affects our relationship. So it's very, very good. I wish it had influenced me more than it has, but
Still
hopefully,
working on it.
hopefully I have another 30 years to work on that.
It's funny to me as alike as we are in many ways. Mine was fiction and yours was nonfiction. And that's pretty much, I mean, you're a nonfiction reader. I want to be, but I fall asleep in nonfiction. So mine is fiction. But that's neat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Number 5. What specific life lesson or challenge has changed you the most?
Uh, okay. I'm gonna go with life challenge, and in about the early 2000s, my parents split up and ended up divorcing, and that was, anybody who knows me already knows this, but that was just rather earth-shattering for me. Having grown up in a Christian home and felt like my whole upbringing was ideal and perfect, and I always look back on with fondness. And anyway, when they fell apart, we learned some things, and I just never expected it. I always thought that if you served in ministry and you had a Christian home, like that was pretty much a guarantee that life was going to go like it was supposed to as far as stuff like that went.
Mhm.
But it's not. And so I think the reason it challenged me, it was their relationship. But here I am, an adult, already a wife and already a mom, and questioning things that I thought were nailed down, my own faith, my own relationship with God, my upbringing, how to deal with anger or disillusionment or resentment, things that I guess up until that point I had never really, really experienced too much of. So I know it changed me. But that's been 24 years ago now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a tough thing. And anyone that I know that is an adult when their parents split up have struggled with it. And it's like I've I've heard it like just having the rug jerked out from under you, like your whole reality shifts a little bit. So um that's I know that that's hard for you to talk about. I appreciate you bringing that up.
Well, I've worked through, I know at least that part of it, because it took a long time for me to be able to look back on my childhood and not feel the whole thing was a lie. You know?
Yeah.
And it felt tainted. I felt like all those memories were just absolutely tainted and gone. And I don't feel that way anymore. And even though I know more about my childhood than I wish I did, I can still see how I still had a beautiful childhood, and I still had parents who loved me and did the very best that they could and tried to love God and honor God through it all. And so I've been able to work through that, but it took a long time.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your honesty. Okay, number 6. What scripture has changed you and why?
Okay, I chose two for this one also. The first one is Genesis 22, um, for a couple of reasons. One was that's the passage that includes Jehovah Jireh, which I grew up hearing God will provide. But later in adulthood, it came to be one of my favorite chapters just because of the whole Abraham being asked by God to offer up his son, and, the angel of the Lord stepping in, on the very spot that centuries later the Son of God would offer up himself and no one would stay the hand. So that's profoundly impacting chapter. But the other one is Psalm 18:30. Um, man, well,
You want me to read it?
yes, Psalm 18:30.
Psalm 18:30 says, this God, his way is perfect, but the word of the Lord proves true. He is a shield for all those who take refuge in him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that became my favorite verse. And I think it's just, I love the reminder of even when you don't understand, rats. I knew this was going to be icky, but I thought I'm just going to be like, just say it. Just be, cold and say it. But when things surprise you in life, and whether it's other people's actions or your own, and the consequences and the fallout, and you don't get it, or things happen that seem painful, and you start questioning things. I think I really camped out on this verse for a long time because I may not understand everything, but I can trust that God's way is perfect and his word always is the right answer, always is the way through. And ultimately, the last promise there, he's a shield for all those who take refuge in him.
Mhm.
I mean, anybody can look back on their life and see there's absolute truth in that. And if you're still going through stuff now, you know that in eternity you have that refuge no matter what. So
That's a
I'm
beautiful verse. I've seen it and read it, but never really camped out in it, and that is beautiful. It reminds me of a picture that someone sent me in a hard situation, and I probably have sent it to you, but it's like God's hands holding a child, and only their face is showing, and there's winds and waves and a storm going on. And I remember thinking, this is how God shields you from things that you can't handle. He lets you see what you can handle, but
Mhm.
yet he's still protecting you from the storm. And that I think about that image a lot, and that seems to go so perfectly with that verse.
Yeah, that's a good image. Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. The last one that is one of the ones that you gave me is number 7. When was a time that someone showed you deep compassion and love like Jesus?
Okay, I'm glad all three of these were together because they were all the hardest ones. Since I'm already a mess. And the answer for this is Neil again, just because I did go through some pretty gnarly years
Yeah, after their divorce.
and did some really dumb things.
Mm.
And, Neil, I had to ask for forgiveness, and Neil has always been really good about offering forgiveness completely. The grace was there and the willingness, but then once he did it, it was over and done with. Like it never came up again. And the reason I appreciate that about him is because I haven't been that gracious. Obviously, marriage is about two individuals forgiving each other over and over again. And I know that if I get upset about something, I'm like, this is just like that time you blah, blah, blah. So I haven't been as gracious about it, but Neil definitely showed deep compassion during some years I'm not proud of.
Yeah, well, he loves you, and that's obvious. Okay, are you ready to move on?
Yes, I am.
Number 8, who's your favorite child?
It's not in the list. Oh,
I
plead the fifth.
mean, you don't want to answer that question? Okay, scratch that number 8, and let's move on to the real number 8. Number 8 says, you and Neil, this is from me, you and Neil have a heart for mission work. How and where has mission work impacted you the most?
Yeah, I was glad to see that one in there because that's a fun one to talk about. And the cool thing about it is, and really anybody who's done it, this is not unique to us at all. Anyone who's done it, everybody comes back with the same lessons and impact. And but all of our short-term mission trips have, well, most of them have been in third world countries, so poverty is just a part of life and it's completely different. Obviously, it makes you see how very blessed we are and the things that we take for granted. But the biggest impact is the individuals in those scenarios and how they have managed to look like they live in contentment
Mhm.
and generosity. They hardly have anything, but are so eager to give and share what they do have, that genuine level of hospitality and generosity and joy. You
Mhm.
know, um, when you sit in worship with a bunch of Christians who have literally an outfit to wear
Yeah.
and a roof over their head and a plastic bucket to carry their water in. That is the extent of their earthly possessions, and they're singing their hearts out in praise. I mean, it's just mind blowing.
Yeah.
So once you've experienced it, we wanted our children each to experience it. And when they all turned 10, no, 11, we took them to Tanzania. And then when they all turned 15, we took each of them to Cambodia. Just so they can see all that for themselves. We love the fact that the church is worldwide, Christians worldwide. You may not speak the same language, but you worship the same God. The blessings that we experience here, but the joy and contentment and generosity that you can have even when you don't have it all, what you
Mhm.
think you have to have, So there are just so many things about it that we feel like impacted us as individuals, even though that's originally not why we went.
Mhm.
You don't. I think everybody says the same thing though. You get so much more and you go because you think this opportunity presented itself and it would be a good thing to do. And but you just get so much back. And I feel like the lessons that you learn and the spiritual growth that you gain, from having experienced it are extremely impactful.
You go because you want to help, but you end up being the one who is helped. I mean, I think
Absolutely.
it's symbiotic. It happens both ways, but
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. Where all have you been on mission trips?
Ukraine a couple of times, Cambodia a couple of times, and Neil's been to both of those places more than I have. He's been three or four times to Ukraine, three or four times to Cambodia, Tanzania 7 times.
Mhm.
So we've been to other places, but I wouldn't actually call them mission trips. We may have done some things like spoke or taught or whatever, but it wasn't necessarily a mission trip. So
Yeah. And the trip to Tanzania, what is the usual route that you follow to get there? How do you get there?
we most often have had layovers in Amsterdam
Mhm.
and then fly into either Tanzania or sometimes Kenya even.
So
Uh,
you have a long flight to Amsterdam, and then it's another long flight south, right? Like
mhm.
7 or 8 more hours.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I always think about Michael giving you a hard time about with when you took the ponytail out of your hair. And what did he say?
That was the worst, though. We had the worst itinerary ever, and my husband's the one that scheduled it for all of us, and he wasn't even on that trip, which
Mhm.
is why Michael likes to bring it up as often as
Yes.
he can. But
Yeah.
yeah, we were traveling. The itinerary was ridiculous. We had long, long, long flights, but also we had a long layover in Memphis. I want to say like 12 hours in
Who
Memphis.
wants to do that?
Yeah, before we even left the country. And
Mhm.
then flew into Kenya, had another long layover there, which was you couldn't leave your hallway because you couldn't leave the stuff. So there was no, we were sitting on the floor in a hallway. And yeah, none of us were feeling good. We all had headaches. We were all hungry, and I had pulled, at one point, I had just pulled my hair up in like a scrunchie like this. End of the trip, when I pulled it out, my hair stayed up there. It was so gross and dirty. It stayed like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that feeling. That's a
Oh,
nasty
yeah.
travel feeling. That's gross.
Yeah, it was bad.
Do you remember the couple at Bear Valley would have been about 2018? So I know you were still there, and I want to say they were from Nigeria, maybe. They had two children. She worked as a counselor while she was over here.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Sounds
but I,
familiar. I can't think of their
yeah,
name.
I cannot remember their name.
Yeah.
But I remember her saying that they felt sorry for us in the States. We typically feel sorry for people who don't have much. But she said, I feel so sorry for you here in the States because you have so much that it
Mm-hmm.
makes it hard for you to see the Lord. And I
I
thought,
understand.
wow, that's profound. And it's true. It is so true.
Yeah, I've even heard it may have been them say something along the lines of, um, even when you go into the grocery store, we want ketchup, we've got 20 different options. Our shelves are just long, 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 and so everything is overcomplicated and excess and whereas when they want ketchup, they go to the market or the store and there's the ketchup, if they have it. And it's just much more simplified, and we just don't think about stuff like that and how different it is and how it changes us.
It's humbling to think about that.
Yeah.
Okay, number 9. What is it about homesteading that draws you?
Okay, let me see how I can simplify this answer. What drew me initially was the beauty about it, gardening, of course, vegetables and roses and, colorful rows of canned goods on the shelf, just the beauty and simplicity of it all. And then once you actually get into it, you find out there's a lot about it that's not really beautiful or simple.
Yeah.
It's dirty and muddy, especially in winter, and hot and sweaty in the summer when you're canning things and it's a lot of work. And when you get tired of it, you can't just go, okay, I need a break. So
Keeps coming in.
it does, but I still love it. And this is a funny time to ask because right now it's, not that great, but I
Yeah.
still worthwhile, especially now that we have grandkids and we can kind of share it with them. We love it's way more exciting to see it all through a child's eyes, to come over and say, here, come out here and feed apricot and talk to them about the chickens and the dairy cow. And, it's way, way more fun to do it with small children around. So I wish we were doing this when our boys were small, but we weren't. And I'm grateful that we are with small grandkids.
Yeah. Yeah, they will have some great memories.
Mhm. I hope so.
Okay. Number 10, what do you remember about your first opportunity to speak publicly, and how has your speaking changed over the years?
My first opportunity was at the Cold Harbor Road Church of Christ, their lectureship. And I remember my knees knocking, and I remember the fact that I memorized the entire manuscript because I felt like that's what I had to do and got it. And so I was a nervous wreck just leading up to that and hoping I wouldn't. I even wrote a poem for it and memorized that and did all the way good through the lesson and the poem until like the last two lines of the poem, and then I messed them up. I'm still bitter about that.
It's
But
okay.
And then my first ladies' day was at the Newport News Church of Christ in Virginia. And I was so nervous about it that I had a dream leading up to it the night before that when I got up to speak, there was a washer and dryer running next to me. And you know how sometimes if you've got your clothes uneven in the wash, it like shakes the whole thing, it bonks the whole thing, it makes a lot of racket. This washing machine was doing that, and nobody seemed to care. And I remember saying, I finally stopped in my lesson and was like, is this not bothering anybody?
And there was no washer and dryer next to you in the real day, huh?
No, no, but it took quite a few years for me just not to feel sick to my stomach when I was speaking. And for the longest time, I thought, I really don't think I should be doing this because I don't feel like I would be responding physically in this way if I was meant to do this. Like, this obviously isn't for me, but eventually that passed and I was able to work through all of that. And I think the biggest change for me is to not worry so much about performance. I'm not saying I don't care because if I ever do speak and I feel like it was kind of, it bothers me. But not worry so much about performance so much as enjoying giving the presentation because if you want your listeners to enjoy it, you have to enjoy it. if you want them to be happy that they're there, it has to be clear that you're happy that you're there. And so I try and focus more on being, how am I saying this? Like excited about what the material itself and what I'm sharing and, to present it in such a way that I assume they are too.
Good advice. I've never heard
Makes
it put quite that way.
Yeah.
Okay. Next, what is on your bucket list?
So I'm hoping to write a fiction novel, but if it doesn't happen, it won't be the end of the world. Another thing on my bucket list is I want to visit Egypt. I want to take a trip down the Nile. I want to see the pyramids. I want to go to the big museum. That is huge travel goal for me. And then I also want to visit the Lockhart Castle in Scotland because that's tied to my family. And I mean, if I own a castle, I feel like I should go see it.
Own a castle. That escalated quickly.
So that's my bucket list.
How's it tied to your family?
Because there's a skeleton in our closet, and technically, my maiden name should have been Lockhart and not Gillespie. And my dad's done all of this, that ancestry kind of research. Like he's done all the things and gone way back. And there's a Lockhart Castle that was in our family, and it's still there, by the way. And like had the whole, what do they call it? Not motto, but like the image that you hang on the wall. What's that called? Like,
Crest?
yeah, like all that stuff. So anyway, I'd just love to go see it just for fun one day.
Well, you could make it a research trip, and that could be what your book is about.
Well, my book is set in Tanzania, but
Mhm.
maybe if I do another one, I'll have
So
to go.
you've already got it started?
Yes. Yes, I do.
You heard it here first, folks. I've heard you say you wanted to do that, but I didn't know that you had actually
Yeah,
started.
I started it. I entered the first 20 pages in a contest. I got really harsh reviews from the judges. Cried about it for days. No, I did cry
They
about it,
know.
but not for days. And
I mean, what do they know?
well, they do. They do know. They actually know.
Well, I think that you should take this upcoming snowstorm to work on that.
Yeah.
That didn't sound like a very confident, yeah.
Well, speaking of, the next question you're going to ask me,
Hmm? What is something you're fascinated by, but will probably never do?
that's the answer right there. If I could just pare everything away and somebody said, "What do you want to do with your life?" I would want to answer, "I'm a writer." I've
Mhm.
always wanted to be able to say that. I'm a writer, and that's what I do. I have two projects that I'm wanting to be working on right now. One of them is Christian, nonfiction type ladies Bible study, and then the other one is this novel. And every single day, I think, well, as soon as I finish all my other stuff, I'm going to spend a few minutes writing, and it just never happens. So if I'm fascinated by the idea of like paring everything else away and saying, this is my job, this is what I do. I write all day long, but it'll probably never happen.
Oh, no, that sounds like a defeatist attitude. I think you should go for it and make it happen. And I don't know what I could suggest for you to set aside, but make it happen.
Yeah, I don't know how, but
Okay, number 14. Is there a specific fear that you've conquered or at least subdued in life?
going way back in life, that would be public speaking, as I've already mentioned. But the one that I'm working on still is any kind of fear or anxiety I have for my grown children. It's just the whole wanting everything to be good in their life. And sometimes it's a lack of control. I'm a control freak, I admit it. And just being able to not let that anxiety, like when you feel something sitting heavy on your chest, you wake up and you're thinking, oh, I know they're going through this, and I know they're experiencing this, and I know this has been hard. And sometimes at night when I'd pray, it would take me a while to go to sleep afterwards because I built my anxiousness up in praying for them. And, please be with, this son and his family as they blah, 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 blah. Please be with this son and his, as they, because everybody goes through stuff in life. And, but trying to work on just none of that fear and anxiety is going to change anything. And God is with them as much as He is with us, Psalm 18:30, and learning to keep praying about it, but then rest in the trust that God's got them. So, but for whatever reason, I feel like that started when they started driving. That fear started when they started driving, and it just camped out in my heart and never went away since that moment.
I remember thinking as a young mother that I would worry about my kids till they were 18, and then I wouldn't worry about them anymore. I was like, phew, that's done. But
Mhm.
now it's like, no, you just worry about them, or I don't know if worry is the right word, although it is a worry, but you just think about them constantly and their concerns and things going on in their life. And then they have children and you think about them too.
Well, and it's stuff, and some of it is stuff they need to experience. We did, financial pressures or, things happening in the home that aren't ideal as far as like the physical home problems that come along. And just stuff that happens in life. But when it's your kids, you're like, I hate that they're going through this. Oh, I hate that or you find out that somebody said something, and it's like, oh, I hate that they're going through this.
Mhm.
And I pray about it and I'm like, oh, please be with them, but intellectually and experientially, I know that to some extent they need that so that, God can grow them spiritually and God can show that He's with them and they can learn from it. And, I know that intellectually, but it's just hard sometimes to see your kids going through things. So, wish you could protect them from it all.
Yeah, it's like discipline and your grandchildren. You know that it has to happen, but I don't want to watch it happen.
Yeah.
I don't want to see it happening.
Well, when they feel experience heartbreak or loss, and it's just like, wish I could take that on for them.
Yeah, exactly. All right. The last one is, how do you want for your grandchildren to remember you?
This one was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. I just want them to remember me being present,
Mm,
that I paid attention when they were around. And I want them to remember me with happiness, like I want them to think of me smiling and laughing and finding joy. And I want them to remember me talking about God. So those are the three things that when I'm long gone, if they look back, that's what I want them to remember.
when someone asks one of your grandkids, what life lesson did you learn from your grandmother?
Who knows?
Well, hearing you talk, I've heard you talk about your grandmother enough. And my mental picture of her is pretty stern. So today was kind of enlightening to hear that she was silly too. But it also makes me think, you can be, I don't like to correct my grandchildren, but sometimes you don't have a choice
Mhm.
because I don't want them to be upset with me. But I realize that you can still do that kind of thing and they still can adore you and
Oh,
love
yeah.
you again.
Yeah. Then I've done her a disservice because when I picture her, I don't picture the stern moments. I really do picture her laughing at herself or cracking up or running around the bases playing softball or scraping the ice cream sundae and laughing about it. Like she opening Christmas presents and going, oh, my, you shouldn't have, and just crossing her eyes. And I mean, I picture all of that. So I'm the one that's done her a disservice.
Well, maybe stern isn't the right word, but just more of she was exacting, I think, the way that she would measure your
Oh, for
peanut
sure.
butter or whatever, things like that.
Yes.
So
Yeah, she was very frugal. The same meals on the same days, measuring things out. And, she was very frugal, but at the same time, that's back to that balance thing. She was generous with her time and her talent, and she would use it for other people. And so, yeah.
well, you obviously adore her because you talk about her often and remember her so fondly. It also makes me think about a song that I heard this week that made me think about your grandfather and his clarinet, the leader of the band. Have you heard that one, Dan Fogelberg?
I don't think
I
so.
bet you've heard it, but
Okay.
I'm gonna have to send it to you because I think you will like it. All right, well,
Yeah.
that was fun. Thanks for letting us pick and probe and examine you and get some neat answers to your questions.
Well,
Hopefully,
I
you'll be
I
able.
told you on the front end, I don't have your gift for I felt like I learned last week just from listening to your answer your questions, not just about you, but like lessons in general. And you've got such a gift of turning things into, beautiful teaching application moments. And I don't have that gift, but
I
I
disagree.
appreciated your questions and thinking about them. So
Yeah, well, it was fun. You know, knowing you as well as I do, there's still things that obviously that we don't know about each other. So that was fun. Okay. Do you have anything else you need to say or bring
no,
it up? Do you
no.
have something good for me?
I have something kind of good for you.
A rousing recommendation.
No, I know. So I've discovered this recipe
That's our new shtick. It's not something good for you. It's something kind of good for you.
kind of good for you. I ran across this recipe for what's called anti-inflammatory hot cocoa.
Okay.
All right. So let me just preface it this way. If perhaps one might be on Weight Watchers,
Mhm.
then it's delicious.
Okay.
If one is used to real hot cocoa with sugar, then maybe not so much. But so I ran across it from this doctor who like really focuses on like hormone health and inflammation and stuff like that. So this one is you can use almond milk, which is what we've been doing, but you can use any milk really. But and then it's you steam it up on the stovetop and then you add hot cocoa and then you add several warming spices. It's cinnamon and turmeric and ginger and cardamom and then a sprinkle of fresh crushed black pepper because black pepper helps your body absorb the turmeric.
Hmm.
And so, and you can't really like, you're not drinking it going, oh, this tastes like black pepper. You can't really taste it. It adds a little heat and that's about it. Um, and then it is per serving, it would be half a tablespoon of real maple syrup. So that's the only sweetener. And it doesn't make it all that sweet, but so one serving ends up being 2 points on Weight Watchers. But it's hot and steamy and it's good for you because of all those spices that have the anti-inflammatory properties. So it's just something that I've been making in some of the evenings, especially now that we've been through our cookie fest. And you can kind of sip it slowly and enjoy it, and it's actually good for you. And so anyway, that's my something kind of good for you. Like it's good for you, but you know.
Did you say it has cocoa in it?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't hear that part. I'm just going, is that hot cocoa or hot almond milk with spices?
No, it's got each serving has a whole tablespoon of cocoa in it. Mhm.
Okay. Maybe I'll try it. I don't know.
Yeah. That's good. If you used regular milk and a little bit more maple syrup, it'd be really good. Like just flat out delicious on its own. But if you're trying to save points,
Yeah.
and the original recipe called for almond milk, and then he put in parentheses, but you can use a different milk if you want.
That's all I buy now is almond milk, unless the kids are coming. Okay, mine is obviously not following your desire to be good. Mine is really something really good for you, and it's kind of surprising too. It's a frozen pizza, which is not, we don't do frozen pizza very much. Maybe 3 or 4 times a year. I mean,
Mhm.
if we're gonna do pizza, I want good pizza. It's
Right.
not Totino's, and you and your Totino's. It's Home Run Inn. Have you ever seen that one?
I don't think so.
So I went yesterday to the grocery store and the frozen pizza was almost wiped out, which was weird. I've never seen it like that. It's just the ice storm.
Mhm.
But they had a few of the Home Run Inn. It was margarita sausage, which is not really even the kind that I would normally buy either. But it was really, really good. And I'm not usually big on frozen pizza, like I said, but there's real tomatoes in it, real chunks of tomatoes. The cheese like melted like a real pizza. Sometimes you have a frozen pizza and it kind
Yeah,
of,
it's plasticky or something.
yeah, this was like melty cheese. And the crust was crisp but yet at the same time it wasn't thin. It was kind of it's a Chicago style,
Mm.
although it's not deep dish. And they say cut it into squares, but it was delicious. So I will be remembering that. And it was a little more than most of them. It's like $6 instead of 3 or 4.
Mhm.
but it was really, really good. So home run in frozen pizza is my something good for you.
All right. I hate that you told me about that.
Sorry. It's, I mean, it's on Weight Watchers if you want to spend the points. I don't know how many I didn't. I didn't track my meal last night.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's for supper?
Well, mine is only half planned. Because I know I'm going to do roasted sweet potatoes and steamed broccoli, but I haven't figured out what my protein's going to be yet. Pretty much, probably whatever's the quickest to thaw out.
Yeah. What do you grab when you're needing some protein quick? What do you grab and what do you typically do?
I if it's really quick like that, canned salmon is a no-brainer for me. And I thought I had some chicken sausage links because I ran across this recipe yesterday that was orzo and broccoli and chicken sausage, but I dug all the way through my deep freeze and couldn't find it. So, but I usually keep stuff like that on hand. That just bare chicken is a really fast and easy, protein to throw out there. So and we have shrimp. We always have that on hand. So things like that are quick and easy.
Yeah. Good. Okay. So I'm gonna try a new recipe for slow cooker barbacoa.
Yum.
Yeah. I've not tried it before. It's a new one, but it's got apple cider vinegar and lime and chipotle seasoning, and
Mm.
it's in the crock pot, so long and low and slow. So that's actually going to be tomorrow night because tonight's Wednesday and we have our meal at the church building. So tomorrow night, slow cooker barbacoa.
Yum. Let me know how that goes. I have printed off a recipe for slow cooker barbacoa, but I haven't tried it yet. But I already know it's different from yours because I don't think this one has chipotle in it.
This one has chipotle powder. It's not the actual pepper. So I don't even know if I have that, but I
I don't
figure
think I
I
have that.
could,
Yeah.
I think I have some of the peppers in a jar, so I'll maybe substitute and see. That
Yeah.
sounds good with tortillas and fresh
Yeah.
lime. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Well, this was fun.
Yeah.
May not have been as fun for you as it was for me, but I enjoyed hearing your answers and hearing what you had to say.
I enjoy talking to you.
Okay. Well, thanks for being honest and if you are new here, thank you for joining us. You can look at our Facebook group called Looking Up with Kathy and Carla, and you can follow us there or join the group. And you can also find us on YouTube if you would like and follow and share and do all that kind of stuff so that our algorithms will stay up. We're not trying to monetize anything, we're not trying to sell anything, but we do like to have some exposure just so that other people will find us. So we would appreciate if you do it. And I think that's it. Hope you stay warm.
Thanks, you too.
I hope that you can get out if and when you want to, but I hope that you can't if you don't want to get out.
That makes so much sense to me.
You'll figure it out. You'll know what I mean.
Yep.
All right. Well, I love you, and until next time.